Hello, this is Jason Robertson speaking from near the Puget Sound on the way to the Pacific Ocean near Seattle, Washington in the United States. And I was asked by ABZ MITTE, please forgive mispronunciation, and the AGTCM to speak a bit about the course I'll be teaching in Offenbach near Frankfurt, Germany in May of 2017. That'll be May 4th through 7th in 2017. This will be a really rare opportunity for me to take 4 days of explanation and kind of fleshing out the work of my teacher, Professor Wang Juyi of Beijing, and his work in what he calls applied channel theory, or Jingluo Yixue. In this 4-day seminar, I plan on going over some of the basics of the information in the textbook that he and I worked on, Applied Channel Theory in Chinese Medicine, but also going through some new material that Dr. Wang and I have worked on in the last almost 10 years since that book was produced. In particular, I'd like for us to have a chance to really work on using this information in the clinic. In other words, integrating channel palpation, which I think is the really unique thing Dr. Wang has to offer in his teaching, with his understanding of Liujing Qi Hua, Qi transformation in the 6 channels, or physiology in Chinese medicine. And to that end, I'd like to take those 4 days to kind of alternate theoretical discussions, clinical presentations of me doing some live treatments on patients there, some presentations of Dr. Wang's case studies, with lots of hands-on practice with you, the group who's going to be there. Specifically, the first day I want to kind of go over Dr. Wang's understanding of Liujing Qi Hua, or 6-channel Qi transformation, explaining his understanding of physiology in the context of the 6 levels that many of you may be more familiar with from the Shanghan Lun, or the treatise on cold damage. So that first morning I want to kind of just explain his understanding of basically the body based on his readings of the Neijing, the Nanjing, and the Jiaijing, these classical texts. And then by the afternoon I want to present some case demonstrations and also have you guys begin palpating the channels. Then beginning on the second day, I want to go a bit deeper into this level, this 6-level Qi transformation idea, and talk a bit about directionality of treatment. In other words, seeing treatments in the context of going upwards and downwards and in and out, but always thinking within the 6-level Qi transformation concept. And to that end, we'll begin that day, that afternoon, with going through each of the 6 levels: Taiyang, Xiaoyang, Yangming, Taiyin, Xiaoyin, and Jueyin, and the 2 channels in each of those. So all 12 channels, one by one, very carefully going over each, going through the kind of palpation technique Dr. Wang uses, commonly found findings on the channels with hands-on practice with you, and also, and this is really important I think for those of you who are interested in Dr. Wang's material, his point locations. Really in the last, say, 5 or 6 years, after 52 years in practice, every time I go back to Beijing to study with Dr. Wang or teach with him abroad, he wants to spend a lot of time going over point location. You think that that's something that you begin in the first year of practice, but in his mind, getting the results that he's finding he can get by thinking of the classics in the modern clinic, getting those results requires really locating the points precisely as he does, looking for the spaces that he finds where the needle should go. And so a lot of his points might be a bit different than what we see in our textbooks, but I want to go through those with you. We'll have a video recorder showing them, and then have a chance with you to really make sure you're finding the points as Dr. Wang finds them. Another thing I want to do in those next 3 days is continue to demonstrate patient treatments, go over some of Dr. Wang's case studies, but also very importantly, to talk about Dr. Wang's point pairs. When Dr. Wang comes up with a channel diagnosis, when he comes up with a treatment that he's going to use, it's very important for him also to think of his treatment with a lead point pair. And so I want to go through in each of the 6 channels point pairs that Dr. Wang often uses, how he thinks of those point pairs affecting Qi transformation. And I should pause for a minute to say that. When we talk about creating point prescriptions in Dr. Wang's approach, he wants to think about the effects of that pairing of points on the 6-channel Qi transformation. So in other words, certain point pairs fit a diagnosis or a symptom pattern, kind of like a glove, and you try to find the point pair that fits your diagnosis. So thinking about point pairs, describing the point pairs that he often uses, the point pairs that I often use here in my clinic in Seattle, and describing how you might use those in your clinics is a big part of what I want to go over, and that's a part of, I think, I haven't had a chance to teach in classes I've done elsewhere because we simply haven't had enough time. So going through each of the 6 levels, describing point pairs and how they can be used clinically will be a very big part of our description of understanding the 6 levels in our 4 days together. There'll be plenty of time for questions. I want to make sure that your questions that you have before the class even are asked, and so any of you watching this video who are interested in certain topics who've studied with me or who've studied with Dr. Wong before, we have time for you to submit those to me at kentuckyginseng@yahoo.com. That's KentuckyGinseng@yahoo.com, and put in the heading, Offenbach course. If there's something you've been thinking about that you might want us to touch on, I'll be preparing a certain question and answer. The dialogue, as you know, in the classical text, the Neijing and the Nanjing in particular, is the way to structure learning in Chinese medicine. So I want to really foster a dialogue between us as we do this hands-on practice. And basically try to get very deep into what Dr. Wong has found in 52 years of practice to be a very effective acupuncture approach that uses few needles and gets very good results, and also has kind of a very empirical, tactile diagnostic method that can be shown to others as well. So I look forward to our time in May of 2017 at Offenbach near Frankfurt, Germany. And in the meantime, those of you who studied with me before, keep palpating, bring your questions, because it's always growing, always changing information. And I look forward to seeing you all there. Thanks very much. Bye.